Cameron, leaving Sirius XM, just got done with the Max B interview. Max B had the NY streets flooded. But Jimmy acting like he can't see the water rising.
Me and these niggas go back like 40 years.
When you hear that you definitely didn't come home, what's the energy? Because I'm going to keep it 100. Yo, Killer, I got to talk to the governor in Jersey.
Yeah, the
Yo,
mayor.
once I speak to the mayor and these Brunswick got coming up.
It was, like I said, you just got to switch the mindset.
Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No.
When Cameron and Mace wrapped up their Sirius XM session with Max B, it felt like Harlem itself was vibrating again. The air was heavy, electric, like something historic had just happened. The moment Max stepped out those prison gates, the city shifted. People who remembered the wave movement, who lived through that era, felt a rush of nostalgia and redemption at once. But one person didn't share that joy, Jim Jones. Instead of celebrating the homecoming, Jim hit the internet with shade.
Look at that. Half these niggas broke.
He called the celebration pointless, tried to paint Max as a failure, like his name didn't still echo through New York's concrete veins. That energy told on him, not just because it was petty, but because it was defensive. The man who once shouted, "We fly high" with Max by his side couldn't even clap when Max got his wings back. During the Sirius XM sit-down, Cameron didn't dance around it either. He looked straight into the mic and said Jim is still scared of Max B, even after all these years. He didn't say it to stir beef, but to underline something deeper, that Max's freedom wasn't just another rap moment.
I want you to pass it at some point.
You want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out, because I don't want to crash.
It was a shift in the hierarchy, a reminder of who truly helped build the sound that carried Harlem through the 2000s. Now that Max was back on the streets, the old story started bubbling up again. Fans wanted to know the real truth. What went down between him and Jim, why the relationship broke, and why Max's release hit so many nerves. To understand it, you have to rewind back to the early 2000s, when Max B wasn't a legend yet, just Charlie Wingate, a Harlem kid chasing a dream. Before the world ever called him Bigavelli, Max was hustling through Harlem's maze of music and street life. When he linked up with Jim Jones's Bird Gang crew, the chemistry was undeniable. Max brought a melodic energy to the city that no one was doing. He sang and rapped at the same time.
Her name was Cindy or Mindy. I wasn't sure because I was too tipsy off the rim, playing big in the bank. Me cream, my dick was a buck, my was the ATM machine. Had the sparkle all in my ear. Nibble on the little nipples and blowing on the
a floating wavy sound that would later influence artists like A$AP Rocky and the entire new school New York vibe. But at the time, Max wasn't getting the spotlight. He was the secret weapon, the one crafting hooks, building bridges, shaping the sound that defined an era. The city was catching on slowly. Tapes like $1 Million Baby, Public Domain, and Coke Wave with French Montana became underground classics.
She said, why you do that? I said, it's sorry, baby. That really not sorry, baby. Why you do that?
By late 2006, Max B's name was spreading fast through the streets of New York. He wasn't mainstream yet, but inside the rap world, everyone knew he was next. His tapes were buzzing, his sound was fresh, and the Harlem swagger was undeniable. But then came the night that changed everything, a moment of impulsive street logic that would cost him 16 years of his life. On September 22nd, 2006, Max's ex-girlfriend, Gina Conway, told him about a man she'd met, Alan J. Plowden, who was flashing money and bragging about his cash flow. Instead of brushing it off and staying focused on music, Max made the worst call of his life. He decided to set up a robbery. He sent his stepbrother, Kelvin Leardom, to handle it. Gina would play her part too. She'd go along, knock on the hotel room door, and make it all look casual. Their target was staying at a Holiday Inn in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Inside were Plowden and a woman named Giselle Neves. Gina knocked, and when Giselle opened the door, Kelvin stormed in with a gun. What was supposed to be a quick grab spiraled into chaos. They duct-taped Giselle, tore the room apart, flipped drawers, and threw furniture, but they couldn't find any cash. Desperation started taking over. They woke Plowden, tied him up, and demanded to know where the money was. When he said there wasn't any, Kelvin forced him to call his business partner, David Taylor, and tell him to bring the cash over. When Taylor arrived, he walked straight into a nightmare. A fight broke out almost instantly.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, Max B really inspired my whole rapping career too. I feel like, not rapping career, but you see the way I'm making melodies.
Yeah.
He was a big part of that, because before I started rapping, I was singing Max B all the time.
In the scuffle, the gun went off, a single fatal shot. David Taylor died on the spot. In seconds, the robbery became a murder. Panic hit everyone. Gina snatched a purse, took $800 and a watch, and the crew fled the scene. Their futures gone over what amounted to gas money. Back at the hotel, Plowden tried to cover himself by moving cash around, but the police were already on the way. He was caught literally in the middle of hiding $30,000, money he hadn't mentioned when his own associates got killed trying to take it. Within days, detectives pieced together the full story. Gina cracked first. She told investigators everything. Who planned it, who was there, every move they made. Her testimony tied Max B directly to the setup. Soon after, both Max and Kelvin were arrested. The bail was set at $2 million. Max B, the same artist who just started shaping Harlem's new sound, was suddenly behind bars, staring at a lifetime away from the mic. The headlines hit hard. Fans couldn't believe it. The wave that was supposed to flood the game had just crashed before it reached shore. The months following Max B's arrest felt like a slow-motion collapse of a rising empire. Harlem had seen many artists come and go, but this one hit differently. Max wasn't just another rapper caught in the system. He was the sound of a generation on the verge of breaking through. But now, instead of tour dates and studio sessions, he faced court hearings, charges, and a wall of evidence that painted a grim picture. By 2009, the case finally reached trial. Gina Conway, once his girlfriend, took a plea deal, manslaughter and armed robbery, in exchange for testifying against him. She faced up to 18 years but had already chosen survival over loyalty. The courtroom energy was cold. Every witness, every detail, stripped another layer off Max's legend and replaced it with headlines that would haunt him for years. On June 9th, 2009, the verdict came down. Guilty on 9 of 11 counts, including felony murder. Max B was sentenced to 75 years in prison. His stepbrother, Kelvin Leardam, was handed life plus 35 years. The next day, Gina was given 15 years for her role. The wave had officially been silenced. Max tried to fight it. In 2012, he filed an appeal, arguing that his lawyer had failed him, that the defense was compromised and biased, but the appeal was denied. For a moment, it seemed like his fate was sealed forever. Then in 2016, everything shifted again. New legal developments revealed a major conflict of interest with Max's original attorney, a twist that opened a door nobody saw coming. His original conviction was tossed out, and Max accepted a plea deal for aggravated manslaughter. The new sentence, 20 years. That change didn't just alter his time, it changed his outlook. Max began studying law, reading, writing, and working on music from behind bars. He turned his cell into a studio of the mind, sharpening himself for the day freedom would finally call again. And then, after nearly 16 years, it did. In November, Max B walked out of prison. His longtime collaborator, French Montana, was there, recording the moment, captioning it with the words, "Can't make this up, my brother really came home on my birthday." That single post exploded across social media.
Let his kids go. Where's daughter? Let's not get close to the gate, guys. They're gonna tell us to move.
The video of Max walking out in a gray tracksuit went viral overnight. Fans were in tears. It wasn't just another rapper coming home. It was a Harlem legend returning to the city that built him. Before the fall, Max B and Jim Jones were inseparable. When Jim formed Bird Gang under the Dipset umbrella, Max was the secret weapon, the soul behind the hooks and the heart behind the melodies. In the mid-2000s, while the city was chasing hard beats and aggressive bars, Max brought warmth, swagger, and melody. Tracks like We Fly High carried that wavy DNA, a blend of street grit and smooth harmonies that became a Dipset trademark. But according to Max, that success came with betrayal. He claimed Jim never gave him proper credit or pay for his contributions. The hooks, the harmonies, the writing, all went unacknowledged while the checks stacked in Jim's favor. Max told people he'd get a few $100s for shows where Jim pulled in thousands. He wasn't just underpaid, he was undervalued.
I would never work for that cornball ass nigga again. Me? I'm a boss. I'm not with that. It's never nothing no more. Like, I look like a boss, I feel like a boss, I taste like a boss. Max Bigger Val. Out of here, man. So Jim Jones. Compare the names. Look, Max Bigger Val. Jim Jones. The f*** out. don't even add up. That nigga not weight. That nigga not on my level, man.
But more than money, it was respect that stung. Max felt like he helped shape the movement, but was treated like background noise in his own creation. That silent tension grew until it broke. Max left Bird Gang, walking away from the team that had once been his family. Shortly after, he linked up with French Montana, and the two began crafting a new sound. Raw, defiant, and unfiltered. Their Coke Wave tapes were more than music. They were a message. Jim responded with denial. He said he'd never intentionally block Max's shine, claiming he was only following what his mentors had taught him. But his actions told a different story. Max had to sue Jim just to get his publishing rights back.
For instance, I'm gonna keep it tall. That's kind of how I missed out on Max B. I'm just being straight up honest. And Jim ended up signing him because Jim seen the vision, because Jim had an outside vision of Max. I grew up with Max. Charlie Rambo, play all day, joking all the time. So when he came to me and said he's gonna start rapping, I was like, yo, Charlie, stop playing. His exact words was killer. No, let's get this shit clicking like Dorothy's heels.
A case he won in court. That legal victory spoke louder than any diss track ever could. Cameron, always one to keep it real, later admitted he'd planned to sign Max himself but missed the timing. He also confirmed what many already suspected, that Jim had a habit of trying to control his circle, taking credit where it wasn't fully due. Even after everything, Max and Cam stayed cool. They shared the same Harlem roots and mutual respect for each other's grind. So when Max finally came home and sat down with Cam and Maze for that Sirius XM interview, fans expected drama, but there was none. Max didn't diss Jim. He didn't bring up old wounds. He talked about growth, freedom, and the future. The day Max B came home wasn't just a Harlem event, it was a cultural shift. Videos of him smiling, hugging French Montana, and breathing in the cold November air spread like wildfire. People called it poetic justice. The wave finally free again. But beneath the cheers, there was tension.
Max B, he wasn't Max B, his name was Charlie Rambo. He got out of jail, he come up to me. This is word for word. So I'm like, Charlie, what up? When you guys say, yo, Flea, I just came home. I say, y'all say you always just come. He say, yo, Flea, you know how to rap now, let's get this clicking like Dorothy's heels.
Jim Jones's energy felt off. Instead of offering peace, Jim doubled down. He dismissed the reunion, refused to acknowledge Max publicly, and kept that same defensive tone. Fans started noticing. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips where Jim sidestepped questions about Max or laughed off the mention of his name like it was something that still stung. Then Cameron dropped the bomb during that interview. Jim's still scared of Max B. The internet exploded. People debated what he meant. Was it literal fear or the fear of being exposed?
A few things that I'm saying, but you don't know the slander. Like when you got locked up, you don't know the slander that I get. Cam, how the you let it go this way? From the same, like, what the how to go, da-da-da-da. I'm like, yo, I ain't see the, yo, I ain't see this nigga be playing niggas got in and out of jail all the time, man. I ain't see this shit was gonna happen. Niggas be ready to take my head off about this shit.
Because you ain't a prophet.
Yeah.
They want you to be a motherfucking prophet.
Yeah, listen, man. And I listen, I'm first tell you, I missed out and I didn't see it because you was too much of my nigga and I didn't see the vision. And sometimes what it is, not even talking about you, because you turned out to be something else.
You still got me in though.
Oh no,
you did everything in your you was like, look, go see bro.
Yeah, but listen, we boomerang, we here now. We ain't even gonna get into it.
I'm just saying, like that's how
right.
Even you acknowledge like still like damn, I got Jaja, I got this nigga, I got Rev, I got you know what I'm saying? You said nah.
Of having the truth about who built what come back to light, because that's what Max's freedom represented. A mirror held up to Harlem's past. Jim's entire legacy was built during an era Max had heavily influenced. The melodies, the swagger, the catchy hooks, all traces of the wave Max brought years before it became mainstream. Now, with Max free and calm, focused, and glowing with purpose.
Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No. Now we get past now. We can get past that now. You want to get past it? Or you want to dive more into it? Or you want me to tweak it?
I want you to pass it at some point.
You want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out. Now, what I want for myself, I want for my brother.
I appreciate it.
You see what I'm saying? Because there's too much money out here, there's too much life out here, and I like to do the things that I like to do. Ain't nothing feel better than living right now.
Jim's insecurities were showing. Fans could feel the contrast. Max was peaceful, composed, moving like a man reborn. Jim looked pressed, reacting instead of leading. His comments online didn't sound confident, they sounded cornered. People started connecting the dots. When Max went down, Jim's career flourished. But when Max came home, suddenly the narrative was shifting. The internet began pulling receipts, interviews, track credits, behind-the-scenes stories, and the picture that formed was hard to deny. Max B had been a creative force behind the scenes all along, and now he was back to reclaim his name. But Max wasn't on revenge time. His calmness made it even worse for his critics. He didn't talk down on anyone. He didn't gloat. He simply moved forward, talking about rebuilding his life, getting back to music, and uplifting Harlem again. When Mace asked Jim in a recent interview if he could finally let go of the past with Max, Jim didn't hesitate. No, he said flatly, offering no explanation. It was a small answer that carried a mountain of emotion. That one word exposed everything: the pride, the hurt, the guilt. Comments flooded in. Some fans said Jim still had PTSD from the World Star days when Max used to clown him nonstop. Others said Jim was hurt because deep down, he knew he'd mishandled the brotherhood. There were fans who believed they could still fix it, that if the two ever met face to face again, the old Harlem bond could heal. But others weren't so hopeful. Too many years, too many egos, too many wounds reopened by fame and history. For Max, the focus isn't on revenge, it's on rebuilding. After 16 years of confinement, he's a different man. Thoughtful, grounded, and ready to create again. Every word he speaks now carries the weight of time and reflection. He's not chasing the wave, he is the wave. For Jim, the story is more complicated. His legacy stands tall. Hits, albums, history. But the shadow of Max B will always be there, reminding everyone of the one artist who helped shape it all. Every time Max's name trends, the conversation reignites. Who really built what? Who carried Harlem's sound? Cameron's statement only amplified what the streets already whispered, that Jim still moves carefully when Max's name comes up, because no matter how much success he's had, there's an unease that lingers. In truth, both men are bound by the same story. They built something iconic together and tore it apart through pride and circumstance. Now, with Max home and free, that story isn't just about old beef. It's about legacy, about how history eventually circles back and demands its due. The streets are watching closely. Fans are waiting for one moment. The day Max B and Jim Jones stand face to face again, not as rivals, but as survivors of an era that changed hip-hop forever. Whether that moment ever comes, nobody knows. But one thing is clear, Harlem remembers. The wave is back, and this time, it's not about charts or fame. It's about truth. The story of Max B isn't over. It's still being written. One bar, one beat, one breath of freedom at a time.